What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your second stimulus check update. And in this video, we're going to go over what the president is saying about the Democrats possibly delaying the second stimulus check and what he wants to do about it. But first, if you're new to the channel, click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so. This way you won't miss out on second stimulus check, unemployment extension, and related news videos as they come out. My wife and I do all the research for you every single day so we can bring you all the information in a quick, concise video. And don't forget to smash the like button for us down below. It really helps out our channel. Okay, first up, President Donald Trump thinks that the Democrats are purposely stalling the stimulus check negotiations so that it doesn't help him in the election, and that by not passing a stimulus package before the election will be more likely that he won't be reelected. President Donald Trump has said that he thinks the Democrats are purposely not making a stimulus deal or agreeing on the negotiations part for the next stimulus package and the next stimulus check because it will help him in the elections. And honestly, that is pretty true. I mean, if he does get a stimulus check passed before the election, it is probably going to guarantee him millions of more votes in the next election. That's pretty much just the reality of how it is that if he can pass a stimulus check before the election, then it is going to definitely get him a lot more votes. There's a lot of people that are on the fence and a lot of people that are mad at Congress waiting for the stimulus check. And if he can get a deal done, or if he steps in with a presidential executive order, that it will guarantee him a lot more votes. In fact, let me know down below in the comments if the president can get a stimulus check done, whether it's through getting an agreement done or through a presidential executive order to pass a stimulus check. Let me know down below in the comments if you would now vote for the president. I'd love to hear what you guys say and what you guys are thinking right now. A lot of people are just mad at Congress because the Democrats and the Republicans can't agree. So I think that one of two things is going to happen going forward. Number one, I think the president is just going to cave into the demands of the Democrats. Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats, I should say, but it's weird how Nancy Pelosi is basically just like the head of the Democrats, and it's like only her. Like there's Nancy Pelosi, and then there's like Chuck Schumer, who has like this little itty bitty say in the matter, and then here's Nancy Pelosi's say in the matter. It's like this much, and then there's Chuck Schumer, and then like everybody else has like that much. So it's weird how it's like Nancy Pelosi is just like all the Democrats, it equals Nancy Pelosi. Where the Republicans aren't quite like that. I mean, we have Mitch McConnell, we have Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, who is, they call him the money man. He basically is in charge of the Treasury, and he's also the main negotiator for the Republicans. The Republicans also have Mark Meadows, White House Chief of Staff, the other negotiator, or as I should say, they have Mark Mnuchin. One of our viewers pointed out yesterday that I said Mark Mnuchin in there, and that's basically like the superhero version of them teaming up. Now, I've actually said that a couple of times. Instead of Steve Mnuchin and Mark Meadows, I've actually said Mark Mnuchin a couple of times, and my wife has edited it out. But I guess she missed one, and it was interesting to see that a couple of viewers caught that, me saying Mark Mnuchin. I guess that's the morph of them. But they have several, and they have Mitch McConnell, Steve Mnuchin, Mark Mnuchin, Mark Meadows, and the president all on the Republican side. They kind of like have like their power split between like four different people, where the Democrats is just Nancy Pelosi. So whatever she wants is what the Democrats have to go for. And the Democrats they've had over 100 different Democrat leaders in the Senate and the House of Representatives actually write public letters to her saying that they just want her to make a deal and they just want her to agree on everything. But she basically just ignored them. So what's going to need to happen to get you guys your stimulus check and your unemployment extension update is one of two things. The president is either First of all, again, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, but I really think that president is going to do everything he can to get a stimulus package and a stimulus check out before the election. Whether it's for the good or he's doing it out of the goodness of his heart or whatever, I definitely think he's going to do everything he can to get it out before the election because he knows that it's going to get him millions more votes. Now, you guys can let me know your thoughts if you think he's doing it out of the goodness of his heart or if he's just doing it for the election. I mean, there's going to be a lot of different opinions on that, but I do think for sure, I'd bet $100 on it right now, that the president is going to try to do everything he can to get a stimulus check out and a stimulus package out before the election because he's trying to win the election. I mean, he even said he's willing to spend over $100 million of his own personal money to spend on advertising and to win the election. And the president's actually worth like $2.5 to $3 billion with a B. So this is, the president. I think he's 74 years old. He's got this is, the later stage of his life. I mean, this is his last big accomplishment. So he doesn't want to be known as the president who didn't get reelected. I mean, because a lot of presidents have been getting reelected, and Obama got 2 terms. So he's definitely trying everything he can to get reelected, and he's going to pull out all the stops. I mean, why wouldn't he? So again, once his presidency is over, he's not going to do anything greater in his life than being the president of the United States. So here's what he's going to have to do to get a stimulus check done. Number one, he's just going to have to give in to Nancy Pelosi and basically say, hey, I'm going to give you what you want. Right now, she wants $2.2 trillion, okay? She wants $2.2 trillion, and she wants to spend like half of that, almost $1 trillion, on states and cities. Well, the president's just going to have to agree on that or come very close to it. Maybe he comes up to $2 trillion, okay? They've said that they're willing to do $1.3 to $1.5 trillion, okay? So they're really, to go from 1.5 to 2, what does he care? I mean, it's not his money. You guys have said that in the comments. It's not their money. Why don't they just pass it? I think that that's one of the two things that will happen is the president will just say, okay, we'll do it at $2 trillion. Will you do it at $2 trillion to help the American people? And Nancy Pelosi will probably at that point have to say yes. Or he'll just agree to $2.2 trillion and then she has to say yes. I mean, that's what she's been asking for this whole time. So the president either says, yes, I'll give you all the money you want or 90% of the money you want, or the president steps in and passes a presidential executive order to pass just the checks alone. That's what he did with the unemployment money. Okay, he basically took money that was sitting in a fund for the disaster relief fund and just redirected it to the unemployment, for stimulus money for the unemployed people. So he has already said there's $300 billion sitting in a fund right now from the first stimulus package that's already been earmarked for stimulus. All he needs to do, if he can't get Congress's approval, is do the same thing he did with the unemployment extension, and that is just pass a presidential executive order, and they literally just start sending the money out within a few days. And again, whether the Democrats think that he can or can't do that, they were debating whether he could or couldn't do it the first time around with the unemployment, and he did it, and whether it was debatable or not, whether he could do it or not, he did do it, and the Democrats didn't challenge it in court because challenging it in court would just mean that millions of unemployed people won't get bonus money from the government. And that would be a very bad thing for Democrats that are coming up for re-election. Why would they want to hold up money for unemployed people that have lost their job during a pandemic? They don't, because they've already said dozens of times that they want more unemployment money and that they want more stimulus checks, and they want more PPP money for small businesses and small business employees. So this is what they've been saying over and over and over and over. So they didn't challenge the unemployment extension, because if they did, they'd be the biggest liars ever known to the country. Can I say that? Would they be the biggest liars ever? Maybe I shouldn't say that. But that's why they didn't challenge the presidential executive order for the unemployment. And that's why I very highly think that they won't challenge it again if he does it for the stimulus checks. The only even way I can possibly think that they would challenge it is just because they simply want to hold it up before the election. But man, that would really kill their chances for reelection for any Democrats that are holding it up in court. I don't think they would do it. You guys can let me know your thoughts down below. I mean, they've said dozens of times that they want a stimulus check, and they didn't challenge the president's presidential executive order for the unemployment. So would they challenge a presidential executive order for a stimulus check? I don't think they would. But you guys can let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Also, I want to report to you guys that we're now seeing a big spike up of new virus cases at almost 44,000 new cases just a few days ago, and then 41,000 new cases per day. We're seeing a big spike up after the Labor Day holiday. The cases are now starting to come in, and this is starting to worry a lot of officials because they don't want to see this happen again. As you can see on this graph here, how after the Memorial Day holiday, we basically went into a spiral where it just got worse and worse and worse and worse. And this was after the first shutdown. Now, what we don't want to have happen is what is happening in Israel right now is they are actually going into a complete second shutdown for their country. They're actually the first country to enter a complete, entire nationwide second shutdown. Now, this is something we don't want to have happen before we get the vaccine. As you can see, the US is now spiking up in cases, and we've had over 6.5 million total cases and about 200,000 deaths. And this is still continuing to go up and up and up. We've had almost 30 million cases worldwide, and almost 1 million people who have fallen to this virus worldwide. So we don't want to see this continue to go up. In fact, Canada is actually the exact opposite of us. They have just reported that they've had no new Canadian virus-related deaths reported for the first time since March. And for comparison, Canada is only reporting about 700 new cases per day right now, where the United States is reporting 44,000 new cases per day. So it is significantly, significantly higher than our neighbors to the north. Pharmaceutical company AstraZeneca has restarted their virus vaccine trial after they had a scary incident where they had to pause the trial. The University of Oxford and AstraZeneca announced Saturday that they're resuming a trial in the UK of an experimental virus vaccine after the trial was paused this week to probe a potentially unexplained illness in one of the patients. It is to note that a lot of these large companies like AstraZeneca are testing in multiple different countries across the world. Now, the US has said that they don't want to count the trials in the other countries, but it does present a lot of precedents and a lot of cases and a lot of data of what is going on in another country. For example, the trial going on in the UK, if they suddenly pause it because, one person got an unexplained illness and then another person gets it, another person gets it, and they start to see a pattern, well, the US would know that data, and then they could say, maybe we should pause our trials, or maybe we shouldn't release it before the election, which is what the president has said they're trying to do. They're actually trying to release the vaccine before the election, which only gives it about 6 months in total, which only gives it less than 6 months in total of actually producing it and testing it. And the next most shortest vaccine the US has ever done is the mumps vaccine, and that took 4 years to produce and test. 4 entire years. They're trying to get this vaccine pushed out in less than 6 months. So it's a completely different thing, and the president is calling this Operation Warp Speed. And that scares me a little bit, to say that we're doing a vaccine at Operation Warp Speed. You guys can let me know down below in the comments. Are you going to take this vaccine as soon as it comes out to protect your family? I feel like we want to take it, we definitely want to, prevent, we have a 2-year-old son, and both my parents and my wife's parents are in their 70s, so we definitely don't want to put them at risk. We don't want to put my son at risk. I have asthma. I've had it my whole life. So we don't want to get the virus and put ourselves at risk, but I don't think we're going to take the vaccine at the beginning. I think that we probably would wait at least a few months, but that's just us personally. I know some of you guys are going to want to get it right away so that you're protected. I know some people aren't going to take the vaccine at all. I know some people want to wait a year. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, because I'm very interested to see what different people think about whether they're going to take the vaccine as soon as it comes out or not. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button or the thumbs up button for me down below. It really helps out our channel. I will keep you guys updated as new information about the stimulus checks and the unemployment extension as more information comes out. And you can click on these videos to watch my newest stimulus check videos next. And this video is about how the vaccine might be mandatory for children. And you can click on this video to watch a video about how to start a business selling products on Amazon FBA. I have students that have replaced their entire 9-to-5 income, and I teach them how to do that. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.